back, everyone, to the Late Night Review. And tonight I want to talk about one of my favorite movies of all time, Hercules Unchained with Steve Reeves. And this is a show where I talk about, if you're not familiar with my show or the channel, the Late Night Review is a show that appears on my channel. I have other types of videos on my channel. But in this show, the Late Night Review, I talk about movies that I enjoy. There's a lot of YouTubers who work hard and watch movies that they might not even want to watch, and they do it for you. So those guys deserve all the credit in the world. They'll watch movies that they like, but movies that they really don't like, just to do review series. So my hat's off to them. They do a fantastic job. I'm kind of taking the easy way because I want YouTube to be a really enjoyable experience. There's enough stress in life without adding to it. But I enjoy making these videos, and I'm really glad you're watching. This movie is a movie I like, and on this show I'll talk about movies that I like or have nostalgia for, or movies I grew up with, movies I really, really enjoy. But sometimes I'll talk about movies that I don't like if there's a franchise that has movies in it that I don't really care for, I'll talk about those and give my critique. But tonight I really like this movie, Hercules Unchained, not because it has the greatest camera in the world, the best technology, not because the acting is sweeping and fantastic, but I got nostalgia for this, and it's really a matter of taste too. If you like your films more refined, the production value to be huge and better, and really, really great acting and all that stuff, it's probably not going to be your movie. If you're not into the sword and sorcery or sword and sandal genre, it probably won't be your movie. But I like this. I like this. And I've always been fascinated with Hercules and Greek mythology, and read about it some, more than some, but a good amount. Had my share. But this is a movie I really like because of nostalgic reasons. But I do like the colors in here. I like the scenery. I like the way certain scenes are shot. I like the blues. I'm an artist, so how a film looks does impact what I think about it, and I do like the way it looks. Yes, it's not the best camera, but there's certain scenes, like at the beginning of this movie, where he goes down with his companions into this cave, walk down the steps, and there's some they're like, it's like a cavern, and you see some stone, natural stone, kind of organic pillars down there, and you have the blue colors. You have him talking to a couple people down there, and I really like how it looks. I really do. There's certain parts of this movie that really draw me in. This is the second installment of Hercules, with Steve Reeves. He made Hercules, Steve Reeves, and this is Hercules Unchained. So this would be part two in the series. And I like this one, but I think the first one is just a little bit better. But it's kind of unfortunate because this one actually had the potential to be better than the first one. It starts out great. He has that confrontation with Primo Carnera. And anyone who doesn't know who Primo Carnera is, he was a wrestler, but most notably he was one of the heavyweight champions of the world. Long time ago, he was heavyweight champion of the world, had a lot of wins, a lot of knockouts. I think he had, if memory serves me right, he had like 80 some wins, like 88, 89 wins, 70 some knockouts, 14 losses. But he fought some of the greats. He fought Joe Louis, the great Joe Louis. He fought Max Schmeling, fought a lot of different guys. And you should look him up on the internet. He's a fascinating guy, Primo Carnera. He's in here. He's older in here. This is long after he was champion of the world. And him and Steve Reeves, Hercules have a confrontation, and it's an interesting one. This movie, and by the way, I was told when I was a kid, my grandfather, who's 100% Italian, I have one grandfather who was 100% Italian, and the other grandfather was 100% Norwegian. But what I was told was my Italian grandfather came over on the ship with Primo Carnera. And that's what I was told when I was a kid. So that's fascinating. If that's true, that's what I was told when I was a kid. And that's really interesting. So look up Primo Carnera. But anyway, he's from Italy. champion, strong guy, 6'6" in his prime. He was 6'6", great build, good reach, and he lost to the great Joe Louis, but then most people did. Joe Louis being one of the greatest fighters of all time. So his fights are on the internet. Both, obviously Joe Louis and Primo Carnera. You could look it up. But this movie here had the potential to be better than the first one, but in the middle, it slows down. They have that whole scene, for those who've seen it, that whole scene, that whole sequence, about 30 minutes or 40 minutes, close to that. I'd have to time it, but I didn't. About 30 or 40 minutes where he lost his memory, and it's slow. And he's in this place where the woman, she's like a queen. It's a dark queen. She's a killer too, and she's killed a lot of people. She falls in love with Hercules. Hercules loses his memory. He drinks the water of forgetfulness. And it's just, they should have narrowed it down. If they would have narrowed it down to 10 minutes or 15 minutes instead of 30 or 40, and they would have added a few more confrontations like Hercules against Primo Carnera, or Antaeus. I think his name was Antaeus, if I remember, son of the earth goddess in Greek mythology. I think he plays Antaeus. But it's Primo Carnera, Steve Reeves confrontation. If they would have had a few more like that in the movie at the beginning and in the middle, a couple, maybe one or two, instead of that long drawn out sequence. And then that at the end, the ending's actually pretty good. He fights a couple tigers. He goes back to the kingdom and battles with the wicked king there and frees his friends. But if they would have had more action in the middle and a couple more confrontations like he had with Primo Carnera, a couple fights like that, maybe fight a giant, and he's darn near a giant. He's 6'6", but I mean, like, a 7-8 foot giant. Or if they would have added a few things like that, a few elements like that, this would have been better than the first one. I think the first one's a little better, but if they would have changed it, wouldn't have been so slow in the end. This would have been better. Steve Reeves was perfect for Hercules, bodybuilding champion, a legendary bodybuilder. And I think his build was great for a bodybuilder. He wasn't too chunky, thick and like a block. He wasn't too blocky and bulky, and he wasn't too skinny. He was just about right. I think he was awesome. And he was a role model for guys like Frank Zane and many other bodybuilders. Almost all the bodybuilders in the golden era and after that were inspired by Steve Reeves and Reg Park and bodybuilders like that, Larry Scott. But Sylvester Stallone has a great build, always did. And one of his major inspirations was Steve Reeves. And Steve Reeves is an inspiration to a lot of people. I know every time I see this movie and others with Steve Reeves, I want to work out. Not to be a big like bodybuilder, but I incorporate strength training into my boxing and martial arts exercises. I have exercise videos on the channel if you haven't seen that, where my wife suggested that I show my monthly workout, so I decided to put those up there, and got a pretty good number of views compared to some of my other videos, but none of them have really compared to the movie reviews. The movie reviews have, just made the channel grow, not exponentially, but compared to what it was before. I'm so happy. I appreciate you guys watching. The movie reviews have more views than any other type of video that I've done. If you haven't seen this movie, Hercules Unchained, I highly recommend it. If you like movies that are sword and sandal, fantasy, Greek mythology, this is really enjoyable. The fighting is okay. It's not that realistic. So if you're looking for realistic fights and battle scenes, you're probably not going to find it in this movie, but it's entertaining. It's fun. Samson and Delilah with Victor Mature, Hedy Lamarr, directed by Cecil B. DeMille. That has better more realistic fighting scenes. Fantastic movie. You should check that out. This movie here, the fighting isn't that realistic. None of these movies have truly tremendously realistic fights, but they're entertaining. This movie's entertaining. I like the story. I think it's slow in the middle, though. It would have been better than the first one if they would have cut that down to 10 minutes, the sequence where he loses his memory. Instead of 40 minutes, they cut it down to 10 minutes or 15 at max, 17 at max. It would have been much, much better. Add 2 or 3 more confrontations like he had with Primo Carnera. It would have been better than the first one. But I do like this movie, Hercules Unchained, with Steve Reeves. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Yes, it's a matter of taste. It's not going to be for everybody. I have nostalgia for it, so that's part of it. But it's a good popcorn movie. Sit there, have popcorn by, have your snacks, and just enjoy something, kind of get lost in the mythology. So this has been the Late Night Review. Like and subscribe, please, and share this video. And until the next night in the future, another cool night, I'll see you for the Late Night Review in the future. Take care, everybody.